We're back. Dark and Darker enemy tier list. We're going to start rating the enemies all the way down from GG easy to... Did I just die to a mob? That's my entire kit gone in a matter of seconds. Really awesome game you have here, Iron Mace. I'm glad I wasted all day gold farming. Wow. And everything in between. So let's just get right into it. First up, Death Beetle. Death Beetle, the only thing you want to worry about really is it's slow. Its slow hurts, and if you get hit by multiple slows, it doesn't just stack the duration, but it stacks the slow speed. So if multiple Death Beetles are hitting you, you are just not moving, and you will die. That being said, you shouldn't get hit by the slow. So that's in between GG easy and a little bit. I guess we should name the middle ones. We'll just put simple, moderate, and ouchie. That sounds good. Something else I want to point out real quick is there are a couple of different enemies. You have normal, elite, and nightmare. So if we take this zombie, for instance, this zombie, its regular base color is exactly what we see on the screen here. It is a normal zombie. If it had a red tint to it, if the zombie was red, it would be an elite zombie. If it had a dark gray tint, right, if the zombie was very dark in color, it would be a nightmare zombie. Normal zombies, all normal creatures have their regular base abilities and movesets. Then elite creatures have extra moves or abilities or modified. And not every creature has a nightmare version, but the creatures that do have nightmare versions either have a even more modified moveset or they add an extra attack or ability. So for instance, this zombie, this color that we're seeing on the screen right here, is a normal zombie. If it was red, it would be an elite zombie, and it would attack faster and it would move faster. If it was a dark gray zombie, it would be nightmare. It would attack faster and move faster, and when it used its ability, it would actually double the amount of gas that it emits. So we'll talk about that in a second. So we can just do the zombie. That's fine. So zombies, super easy. We're going to put it in simple because they're easy to deal with, but you have to have the DPS to kill them before they use their ability. The zombie's ability is that it basically coughs up a big green toxic gas cloud that deals damage when you stand in it, and the gas cloud moves, so it zones you out of different rooms, out of different hallways, and deals damage. It's not a lot of damage, but once it hits elite and the zombie's moving faster, it has more HP, so it has more chance to use its ability and cause the gas to come out. Once you get to hell and you go down and you're fighting the nightmare, the dark gray zombies, they move super quick, they attack super quick, and when they use their ability, it shoots out 2 clouds of toxic gas. And those deal a lot of damage. The nightmare ones deal a lot of damage. So those can be a problem to deal with. The thing about this tier list is I will talk about the nightmare versions, but I'm not going to place the enemies based on the nightmare versions because almost all the nightmare versions are just going to be at the top. They're very, they're just way more powerful than any of the other enemies. But maybe I'll do a nightmare tier list, or I'll just talk about it afterwards. We'll see how the video goes. So zombies we're going to put in simple for now. And these placeholders, these spots that we're putting these enemies are not concrete, obviously. As we continue to go through it, we'll move stuff around. Next up is the Demon Dog. This is an ouchie. It's not quite up there with, wow, I lost my entire kit. Although I have lost a kit because of a dog. But I'm not going to put it up there. That's just me being bad. If you die to a dog, You shouldn't die to a dog. The time you're going to die to dogs because they have quick move speed is when you're running through a module that you shouldn't be running through. You're moving too quickly when you're down in hell, and you're aggroing too many enemies, and the dogs are just quick. So what I'll do is I'll put a link in the description of a video that an awesome YouTuber, what's his name? A YouTuber named Cloud made a really great video on how to deal with all of the enemies, how to avoid all their attacks. And I'll put that link in because I don't want to talk about that in this video, but I want you to be able to have the resources to deal with the enemies. Next up is the little Goblin Warrior. He has a little short sword and a shield, moves slow and attacks very predictably. This is a GG easy. You should never get hit by the goblin. I heard that voice crack. You should never get hit by the goblin. It does. He's got a poison weapon, just like all the goblins, most of the goblins. So you don't want to get hit by the poison. Super easy to deal with. The bosses are obviously going to be up here. I'll talk about the bosses afterwards, but we're just going to throw the bosses up here because, I mean, they're just obviously going to be stronger than any of the mobs. Next up, we got the Dragonfly. This is a... Dragonfly goes under Death Beetle, which makes me think Death Beetle's simple and Dragonfly is GG easy. Dragonfly fans out poison. So it'll fly up to you and then it'll make an audio cue and it will spit out poison in a fan in front of it. It's pretty easy to dodge, and even when you get hit by it, it doesn't deal a whole lot of damage. Next up is the Goblin Archer. We're going to put the Goblin Archer at simple. Goblin Archer is super easy to deal with. All you have to do is strafe it, just like a regular archer. Next up, we have the Goblin Shaman. Goblin Shaman's very easy to deal with, but if you get hit by the Goblin Shaman, you can't heal and you're slowed. So if you get hit by a Goblin Archer, you just take damage, right? If you get hit by a Goblin Shaman, you're slowed and you can't heal. So we're going to put Goblin Shaman in. We're just going to put it at top of simple because they are easy to kill. But if you get hit by it, it's very damaging, right? It can be a big deal. As opposed to, say, an archer who is also easy to kill. But if you get hit by it, it's not that big of a deal. Goblin Archer is above the Death Beetle. No, it's not. It's really not. They're so easy to deal with. Mimic, GG easy. If you ever die by a Mimic, I mean, if you die to a Mimic, you are the one that's feeding the Mimic the dog shit fucking gear that they always have. Why do you even open Mimics after you kill them? I will never know. I've never seen any piece of gear that's decent. Mummies, super easy to kill. Mummies are probably like the easiest fucking enemy in the game. They're probably just down here. Skeleton Archer, super simple. Skeleton Archers we're going to put above the goblins because they shoot multiple arrows. They can shoot multiple arrows at you. Next up, we got a Skelly Champ. Skelly Champ is ouchie. Skelly Champ can kill you for sure. But we're going to put him on top of ouchie. The Skelly Champ basically has 3 moves that it's going to use. It'll swing its sword and it'll shield bash. It has good movement speed, a lot of health, and a big shield. So, but the risk versus reward is great because Skelly Champs drop, or have the chance to drop, I should say, golden keys. Next up, we got the Skeleton, I don't know, Warrior. I forgot what the skeleton's called, but it has 1 sword and it's super easy to kill. They're very slow. Even their nightmare versions that have extra attacks are not difficult to deal with. Same with the Skelly that has the shield. Even their elite nightmare versions are just not difficult to deal with at all. As opposed to, like, let's say a Skeleton Axeman, which is the strongest skeleton, right? It has an axe. Now, you can't see it, but the axe actually has infinite range. It's basically a ranged weapon and a melee weapon combined. It will hit you across the module, across the room, across the map. It will fucking follow you through a blue portal and kill you while you're in the lobby of the next game. These are so fucking annoying to deal with, and I hate them. Those are going up to... those are going up to Mega Ouchie. I'm more scared of these. Honestly, I'm more scared of these Skeleton Axemen than I am the Skelly Champ, but that's not actually accurate. Skelly Champ's a little above it. These are the scariest. These are the scariest Skellies, though. And second to the Axeman is the Skeleton Spear. So we're going to throw that up there, too. You just have to figure out how to dodge their attack animations, but it's because of the range, right? They're melee units, but they have weapons that have good range. Next up is the Mage. Super easy to deal with. They shield. The Mage has the ability to shield itself or an ally, meaning an enemy to you. It also shoots a fireball that hurts a lot, but they're super, super simple to deal with. Mage definitely strongest of the simple crew. Spiders. So if you only had to fight one spider at a time, this would be the easiest GG easy enemy, right? But you don't have to fight one spider at a time ever. You have to fight 3, 4, 6. Spiders can be devastating. You try and jump over them, you actually jump on them, you're now bunny hopping, you now fly across the room, and then you land in a fucking mage fireball because you jumped on top of a spider. Spiders can hold you in place, they can keep you in a corner, they can prevent you from running to the next room. Like, spiders are very underestimated. You need to watch out for spiders. I am going to keep them in simple, but don't underestimate the power of strength in numbers. Wraith. Wraith is... I think Wraith is actually more difficult than the Skelly Champ because of its... it has a charge move, and it slows you when it hits you. Other than that, it's pretty simple to deal with. The Demon Centaur is definitely up at the top. Like, this is the shit that will wipe you. It will wipe your team. It has... you basically have to get in a cheese spot to kill it. I mean, that's not true. If you watch the video that I put in the description, you can kill it without getting hit. You just have to duck and bob and weave. But the easiest ways to kill it is to get in a cheese spot, because then you're not having to waste time by ducking and bobbing and weaving. Next up, Death Skull. So Death Skull's super, super easy to deal with, but I will say the Nightmare Death Skull I actually think is the scariest non-boss enemy in the game. Like, genuinely. It has a lot of health, and it attacks twice, and it will wipe and kill a party member just instantly for free. But excluding the Nightmare version, the Death Skulls are super duper simple. We're gonna put them like, yeah, probably top of GG Easy. Yeah. Next up, we have the Demon Bat. Demon Bat are ouchie for sure. Yeah. In fact, I mean, you just have to strafe it though. It's kind of easy to deal with, but the thing is, like, the Demon Bat deals a decent amount of damage, and it can push you. So it can knock you, like, if you're on top, if you have, you know, height, verticality, it can knock you off of that. It can push you into another module. It can push you into a corner where you can't attack it. The Demon Bats are, they can be difficult to deal with, especially if you're dealing with 2 or more, like some of the modules in Hell have. Giant Centipede, pretty easy to deal with. Just don't get hit by the poison on the ground. because unless they've updated it, it for some reason can stack on you and kill you in like 2 seconds, which has happened to me, which is absolutely ridiculous. Other than that, it's pretty simple. It's got a melee lunge-ish attack, and it has a projectile acid spew. Cockatrice. Cockatrice is up there with Ouchie. Cockatrice can kill you. It can yell at you, which paralyzes you. And it'll come up and peck, and it's got a little lunge jump attack. It's pretty scary. Cockatrice is more scary than the Demon Dog because of how much health it has. It's actually more scary than... Yeah, I mean... It's more difficult to kite. I mean, I don't know. I think Cockatrice is actually like... I avoid Cockatrice more than I do a Skellychamp or a Wraith. Maybe a Wraith is more difficult. I don't know. They're both kind of... They're both more difficult than the Skellychamp. Skellychamp's simple. You can kite it out. I'll put Cockatrice like up here. I usually just try and avoid them. Demon Berserker. Demon Berserker is definitely up here, especially the Nightmare version. It's ridiculously fast, has a lot of health, does a lot of damage. We're gonna put that probably below the Demon Centaur. They're kind of close to each other. They're kind of close. We got Dire Wolf. Dire Wolves have good movement speed. They lunge, they bite, they hurt. And I think I put Dire Wolves in moderate. Yeah, below the Centipede, above all of these. Dire Wolves are fast, and if you run through a module, you can aggro a lot of them at once, which can be a problem for you. Giant Bat, probably like the easiest enemy in the game to deal with. I say that about all of these GG Easies, but it's not really a problem. It has an ability that can distort your vision, but they changed it so it like doesn't hardly do anything now. It used to actually be a problem. It'd make you feel like you're playing drunk, but Giant Bat's super simple. Now we have the Giant Spider, and it's pretty easy to deal with. Doesn't have that much health. It has a melee attack, and it also has a ranged attack that does a little bit of poison damage, and it prevents you from attacking. So if you have a bunch of mobs and it hits you with that, you're unable to clear the mobs. It can be a problem. I'll put that above the zombies. More annoying to deal with, but I'll put it above Death Beetle. Yeah, I'll put it above Death Beetle. Next is the Goblin Axeman. Pretty simple to deal with. You should never get hit by this. And they don't have a lot of health at all. There's really nothing special about the Axeman. Bola's definitely up in moderate. Like, I'd rather fight all of these than a fucking Bola. They slow. They're very accurate. Don't get hit by a Goblin Bolaslinger. Next up, we got sub-bosses, Golem and Worm. I mean, Golem and Worm are both really easy to deal with. They're not going to paralyze you like the Cockatrice, which can just kill you. They're not going to super slow you and just kill you like the Wraith can. Maybe I'll put them above Skellychamp. They don't drop a key, which means... Well, Worm drops an old rusty key, but that's, I mean, obviously worse than the golden key that the skeleton can drop. But they're both easy to deal with. I mean, the Worm has a AoE spin attack. It has a headbutt melee attack, and it spews out poison on the ground, which can zone you out of hallways or the area that you spawn it in. It can also dig underground and follow you, so you can pull it out of its zone, and you can, like, if you're a rogue, you can aggro it on yourself, pull it out of its spawn, go into another team, go invis, and now the other team is fighting the Worm. It's funny, but it's memes. Like, it's not actually a good strat. Then you got the Golem. Golem's like super simple to deal with. It attacks you. It's got a couple different melee attacks, and it's easy to deal with. Next up, we have the Zweihander Skelly. Zweihander Skelly, you just need a duck. Even in its nightmare form where it has multiple attacks, you just need a duck, and then jump. It's super easy to deal with. We're going to put Zweihander, probably, yeah, we'll put him like right here. I mean, he's easy to deal with. Skelly Crossbow, we're going to put an Ouchie. Skelly Crossbow can one-shot you if you're low health. Like, if you're a low health player, like, not even if you took damage, but if you're just like a rogue or a ranger and the Skelly Champ is a headshots you, you can just die. It does a lot of damage. You do not want to get hit by that. Even if you don't die, you're going to be so incredibly low health that you're going to be sprinting around trying to heal. So the Skelly Crossbowman can be very, very lethal. And, you know, obviously I'm a ranger main, so take this list with a grain of salt. Most of these enemies are easy to kill as a ranger. It's a lot more difficult as melee. But last up, we have the Wisp. Wisp is super simple to deal with. It's got a ranged attack. It can debuff with its... it has the ability to debuff. Like, if you're a bard and you buffed up yourself or your party, it can take away all those buffs. If you rage as a barbarian, you know. But other than that, it's super easy to deal with. We'll put the Wisp, like, in the middle. So, looking at this list... this is saying that the weakest enemy in all of the game is the giant bat. And I would say you should never, ever get hit by the Wisp. Maybe the Wisp is the weakest. Giant bat. We got the Skellies. This isn't going to be in perfect order, but in regard to their appropriate tiers, I would say this looks pretty good. That's going to be the tier list. Let me know in the comments below what enemies that you have the most problems with. And if you appreciate the video, it would mean a whole lot if you hit subscribe and then you hit that little bell for notifications. That way, when I do upload content, you'll be the first to notice and you can check it out. All right, I'll see you guys next time in trade, where I'm trying to buy back my kit from a rogue who killed me. Fuck you, rogues.